When DePauw and Wabash first met on the football field in 1890, the U.S. population was just shy of 63 million. Commercial production of automobiles began that year in France. But radio was not yet invented, and the first commercial U.S. broadcast wouldn't be heard for another 30 years. So in the old days, when it came to the big game, if you weren't in the stands, you'd need to wait for a newspaper account, or, if you were lucky, a friend would relay the score to you. Years later, students on the two campuses could hear radio broadcasts of Monon Bell battles, like the famous WGRE call of the 1955 finish.
There's a pass back, the boot is up. It's good! It's good! It's good! It's good, fans! It's good! It's good! It's good! And that ends the game, and DePauw wins! DePauw wins by the score of 23-20!
But it wasn't until the 84th game in the rivalry series in 1977 that TV cameras captured the action and turned it around live. ABC's Jim Lampley provided the play-by-play for a lopsided game that was televised regionally by that network. But a national telecast? It wasn't until 7 years later, in 1984, that alumni anywhere in the U.S. could tune in the Monon Bell Classic, pitting Wabash and coach Greg Carlson against the Tigers of DePauw mentor Nick Morosis.
And it really is a fantastic rivalry, the greatest small college rivalry in the country. There's no question.
The 1984 telecast came to be largely because of the efforts of ESPN founder and 1954 DePauw graduate Bill Rasmussen. Working at the time for the Big Ten, Rasmussen received a call from DePauw president Richard Rosser asking if he could help arrange a Monon Bell telecast. Rasmussen then called his friend Ed Taylor, seen here in a 1998 photo. Taylor was the president and majority shareholder of ESPN, the satellite program network. Launched in 1979, it was one of the first cable TV networks. A deal was struck, and a satellite truck would be in Crawfordsville for game day. But what about an announcer? Rasmussen asked another friend, Dick Martin, the radio voice of the University of Illinois, if he would do it. After all, the Fighting Illini would be playing Indiana University in the brand new Hoosier Dome the night of the Bell game. Rasmussen remembers saying, "It's kinda sorta on your way to Indy." Martin said yes, and he did the Monon play-by-play at no charge. Martin was joined in the booth by Tom Mont, DePauw's legendary former football coach and at the time athletic director, and Chris Denary, a Wabash grad who would go on to become the TV voice of the Indiana Pacers.
And in 1984, this would be the last season that we'd be together. We all came in together under Coach Nick, so many of us came here because of Coach Nick, and this would be the last time, going into this rivalry game with Wabash would be the last time that we'd be playing together. That it was the first telecast, at the time, the significance of that really didn't set in. I mean, we had obviously all of our academic challenges that week as we would any other. And we had to prepare for this last game, our last one. Didn't want to leave anything on the field.
After the contest, DePauw's alumni magazine called it the first Division III football game in history to be seen by a national television audience. It noted that there were 11 organized alumni viewing parties across the nation, and that many other alums watched in their own homes. And it gave Bill Rasmussen credit for paying the satellite transmission costs.
Alums watching the game all over the country, they'd call back and say what an exciting game, because it would feel to them like they were right there.
A new era had begun. The game was back on ESPN in 1985. That year, the music video of a new song, The Ballad of the Monon Bell, made its debut.
Ring the bell for Wabash, ring for old DePauw, ring the bell for victory in the last game every fall.
In 1986, ESPN became Tempo Television, and the Monon Bell rang on that network for another 2 years.
Live coverage of the best of fall college football.
Coming up next, Tempo brings you live coverage of Wabash at DePauw as the two schools meet for the 93rd time in their traditional Monon Bell rivalry.
Tempo Television Sports brings you the 94th meeting between the Wabash College Little Giants and the DePauw University Tigers.
In May of 1988, NBC announced plans to buy Tempo for $20 million. On April 17, 1989, the network was relaunched as the Consumer News and Business Channel, CNBC, which today reaches 390 million viewers around the world. After finding homes on several television outlets, including a 1994 telecast on ESPN2, seeing a Monon Bell with friends many miles away has become almost as big a tradition as the game itself. Since 2006, the game has been seen each year on Access TV, of which Mark Cuban is majority owner. And today, alumni parties are held in more than 60 cities each fall.
For us to be able to telecast it all over the country, it's really an exciting event yearly that people can look forward to wherever they're located in their place of employment. Los Angeles, Arizona, Texas, and to go to a spot and watch the game live on TV, I think is really exciting.
The rivalry games are also commemorated each year with limited edition DVDs like the one you're watching now. For more than 30 years, the classic moments of this series have been carried coast to coast. And fans of the two schools who couldn't be in the stadiums saw some thrilling moments.
Knott's going to let it fly. Here it goes. It is in the air, and it is caught.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my goodness. What
It is the very thing that you thought wouldn't happen, and what an unbelievable end to the football game. What an unbelievable end.
Haverkamp has it on his foot now. 2 seconds to go. Monon Bell game on the line.
Oh, my.
The kick is long. It's got distance. It's good. It's good. Haverkamp has won the Monon Bell with a 47-yard field goal.
With room to spare.
And this is where it all began.
What a great thing. And I think, again, at the time, I don't think I realized what the significance, and just grateful that, that we've been able to do it every year. And now it's sort of taken for granted. And alumni know that every year they can show up and catch the game. And if they can't make it to campus and see it live time, they can tune in from afar. Glad that it happened and continued for sure.